Welcome to the Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place. Here to challenge you to think out of the box, your hosts, Felipe Mejia and Diego Corzo.
Diego, what's up, dude? Super excited to have one of our Rat Race to 5 members on here today. Anton is going to talk about how he went from a W-2 job, even though he's still working, to building 2 six-figure incomes in his first year in real estate. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man, it is super excited because he started with us from the beginning, and just hearing his story, coming here at the age of 11 from Russia to what he's doing now, MBA, but still hustling out there on the real estate business. I'm excited to hear his story.
Yeah, absolutely. Super excited to get started. I think what most people need to get out of this this particular one is going to be that, like, he took action where a lot of people might have been scared. It seems like he was just like, yes, he knew that there was going to be some challenges, but what's most important is that he took action. And that's the most crucial part, aside from him just betting on himself. So let's just get right into it. Anton, welcome to the show, bro. What's up, Diego? What's up, Anton? Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the Rat Race to 5 podcast. Anton, thank you for your time, bro. Seriously.
Thank you so much, guys. It's an honor to be here, and I'm really, really excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir.
No, definitely.
Felipe, I'm very excited to have Anton on the call today too, because we connected. I believe it was just through IG. And now you are part of Rat Race. You've been hustling, you've been doing the wholesaling, getting virtual assistants. So I'm very excited to hear your story.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to hear Anton's story as well. Like you said, he came into this circle just Rat Race, right? He was like, he's just going to be in a paid mastermind and we're going to steal all his money and we were going to give him no value. Isn't that what people think when they're like, I want to get into a mastermind? But Anton, I know, right? Tell us your story, bro. Who you are, where you were raised, where are you from, and then lead us all the way up into how you found Rat Race.
Awesome. So my name is Anton. I'm originally from Russia, and I moved to the United States when I was 11 years old, lived in Arizona until I was about 23. And then I moved to Miami, Florida, as soon as I finished college. And I've been here in Miami for the last 11 years. So I'm 34 years old now. I've been with Rat Race for a little bit less than a year, joined last November, and that's when things really changed. Before Rat Race, I was really climbing the corporate ladder. I got my MBA. I thought I was going to be one of vice presidents of the company that I'm working for. And then after the pandemic hit, which I think, like our good friend Naaman says, pandemic made a lot of millionaires hit things. Things really changed. I had a lot of free time on my hands because I wasn't traveling as much. And that's when I decided to connect with Felipe, who I literally saw on Instagram Live, doing a live in Daytona, Florida. And I hit him up saying, hey, you're about 4 hours away from me. Why don't you come down to Miami? And he started talking about Rat Race, and the rest is history. I called him up right after the live and joined the Rat Race the next day. Actually, the same night, I think you guys had a call that night. And Felipe was like, I'm just going to go ahead and let you sit in that call. So
I remember that because he sent me your email and be like, hey, this guy may want in. Here's the call. And I was like, okay.
So
and here you are.
Anton, what gave you that motivation to want to get into Rat Race, especially during like a pandemic time, like where for most, and including ourselves, even as investors, like money was getting tight? Why did you decide to invest in yourself at that point? Like, I feel like that would be the worst time that you would want to spend money on yourself.
Yeah, I think I had a lot of, to be honest with you, Felipe, I had a lot of free time on my hands at that point. I had money saved up. I knew I wanted to go into real estate. I didn't know where to start. I was like most people in the analysis paralysis stage. I didn't know if I wanted to buy my property, rent it. I read all the books, listened to all the podcasts. That's actually how I started following you, Felipe, because I heard you on a podcast. And I really liked what you had to say. And I was really, the whole real estate game, and I wanted to get in it, but I didn't know how. And then I feel like it was a blessing that night. I remember just seeing your Instagram live, and I said, you know what, this is it. Let me just go ahead and and do it. And that's probably, I think, the best thing for anybody that's in that analysis paralysis stage is to get surrounded by people that are doing what you want to be doing or you would like to be doing. That gets you out of that stage completely, and it makes you take action on a massive scale. So that's probably what was the whole rat race experience. Joining that like-minded group of people really changed the whole perception for me in terms of taking action and going into real estate.
Yeah. And that's really cool, because when you join a group like that, right, and it can be any mastermind at the end of the day, is if it's a good one, it will raise your level of average, like what you think is the norm. Just because you see everybody there that's taking action, you're like, oh, I'm gonna take action too. Like if people are buying properties, I'm gonna buy properties. People are wholesaling, I'm gonna be wholesaling. And it becomes the norm to say, hey, I bought a property this month. Where if you go back and maybe you tell your friends, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Are you sure you wanna get to buy a property? You already have a very secure job. Why don't you climb the corporate ladder? It's safe and this and that. So very, very happy that you joined. So how have you been taking action so far this year? Well, since you joined Rat Race.
Right. I feel like since I joined, I mean, this is cool not only about to promote Rat Race. I know I love Rat Race and I love you guys as much as possible, but I feel like after I joined Rat Race, things just started happening because I started hearing what other people are doing. And I thought I was going to go into buy and hold and maybe house hack, because that was what everybody was talking about at the time. And then I had a conversation with your brother, Diego Gonzalo. I asked you if he would have a chance to JV with me on a deal, because I wanted to get into wholesaling. And the reason I wanted to get into wholesaling really is because I knew that was the best way to learn the market, or to learn the whole process, is to really jump in the deep end, as you say. And instead of relying on realtors to find you the property, I thought I was going to go do it on my own. And after having that conversation with Gonzalo, that really changed my whole game plan. I said, you know what, that's it. I'm not even going to focus on house hacking. I want to get into wholesaling 100% and see what I can get out of it. Since then, I've done 3 deals. I've grossed about $17,000 in 3 months in terms of the actual wholesaling process. Cool. I've hired 2 virtual assistants that have helped me out tremendously, and we'll get into that, I hope, in this podcast, because that's a game changer when you bring other people on board to help you do what maybe you don't really like to do or want to do, and really focus on the core of the business. As they say, work on your business, not in your business. So building those systems that Gonzalo really pointed out for me, really, really helped and changed the whole thing.
Let me jump in there real quick. So you joined Rat Race, you got to meet Diego, and then from there you got to meet Gonzalo, who's now made you, I don't want to say Gonzalo made you, but those 2 relationships has now netted you 17 grand, right? So a couple $100 investments in a mastermind has now netted you thousands of dollars in a business. You say you've only hired 2 VAs, but I know that's a lie, because you've hired like 50 VAs for other people too. So tell us a little bit about the virtual assistant business that you've started.
Awesome. So that's another area that I didn't plan to get into, but it kind of happened automatically. As soon as I started working with virtual assistants, I became getting deals and doing those deals that I already mentioned. I started talking about virtual assistants in the mastermind group and telling other people that I'm using virtual assistants to help me with finding deals off market. And that's when I started getting a lot of text messages by members of the Rat Race group asking me if I could help them out with finding virtual assistants. Specifically Felipe. You were one of the first.
Yeah.
Taking action.
And that was great. Because you contacted me and you said, hey, Anton, how much I got to pay you for this? I'm like, no, Felipe, you know what? You already gave me so much value with this Rat Race thing. I just want to go ahead and help you out as much as I can. And that gave me another motivation to say, okay, this is something interesting. So I found you the 2 virtual assistants.
I want to pause the story there for 1 second. I know people are eager to listen to it, but okay, you did that for me where you were like, hey, Felipe, I'm going to give these to you for free. I was willing to pay, but I want everyone who's listening to this part, when you have nothing of, I don't want to say like when you feel like you have nothing of value to give someone that's on a level that you want to get to, sometimes doing something for free is valued more than money. Because at the end of this story, Anton's going to talk about how we partnered in this business and now he's making, money on top of money because he didn't charge me for a VA. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, he did it for free, but subconsciously for me, I'm like, dang it. Now I got to find a way to reciprocate that value 10 times. I don't want to be the guy that got a free VA. I'm not going to be that guy, but that's just a mindset of mine. So go ahead, Anton. We'll talk about the rest of it in a minute.
That is 100% true, Felipe. A lot of times, even giving a gift to somebody is something that kind of just makes that. And I don't say that people should do that just to expect something back. I honestly didn't expect anything back from you. I was just really grateful for what I was going through and making these deals and making this money and being part of this group. But now that it happened, it kind of grew into something completely different. So yeah, so I found those 2 VAs for you for free. And then I had other members of Rat Race contact me and say, hey, can you help me out? And I said, of course I could. But at the same time, after finding the virtual assistants for you, I realized that, sometimes you have to be compensated for your time. You shouldn't be doing things for everybody for free. So, and as long as you bring value, as long as you already proved yourself that you can do it for somebody else, you can bring value and help that person out. So I started doing that. And then Felipe and I connected shortly after that. And he basically brought me on and said, hey, listen, I have this idea. Why don't we go ahead and build this team of virtual assistants? That then we can go ahead and train and allow other people to go ahead and hire them from us and use them to help them find off-market deals. And today we got about 17 on staff virtual assistants that work for us full-time. And we have about 20 clients. I believe we started, correct me if I'm wrong, Diego, Felipe, about a month ago.
Yeah, about a month ago.
And this just has been blowing up into something great, because it is definitely bringing value to people that are hiring these virtual assistants. We are making sure that they're trained and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So
yeah, and what's good about a VA is that maybe people that do have a full-time job, if they're working a 9 to 5, they can actually be able to still get work done, still bring in leads by hiring a virtual assistant for them, so that they can have some warm leads, so that after work or during their lunchtime, they can just call them and they're good to go, right? And I feel like leveraging that part definitely allows people to have the opportunity to make more deals happen, especially on the wholesaling part. So
really quick, Diego, I want to backtrack though real quick, where Anton said 2 things really good. So one, he said basically that he was like, he was just giving these virtual assistants away. And what I was telling Anton was like, why don't we make this into a quality controlled business? Because you're going to give that person a VA. And if that VA doesn't produce, then they're going to fire them. And then they're going to ask you for another one. And now you've just created more work for yourself. Other than if we hire the VAs, we train them, we have quality or we can create a quality and control for them to make sure that we have the best of the best. And then if you listen to the last podcast where Diego interviewed me and Diego are business partners, I asked Diego to come in with me on this business and help me create the systems and processes alongside Anton, where we could have the right like network of VAs and then us as leaders to then create and produce a very action-based product for people that are looking for virtual assistants that can cold call. And Anton had the knowledge of how to get them. Diego had processes and procedures, and I was good at sales and getting the information out there. So we created a good business together, and it all started by Anton offering basically a free service to me with the VA. I don't even think I use those VAs anymore. We've now transitioned those into other people that need them because we have so many people that are wanting cold caller VAs. So all that to say, it's Anton surrounding himself with the right people that can further his ideas, past where he might just be thinking. So super, super proud of that part in regards to what Anton brought to the table for sure.
Yeah. And Anton, for anybody, for example, that's trying to get a VA, what do you think are qualities that a VA should have, especially if you're going to be hiring a cold caller?
A few things you got to be looking at. Number one and most important, of course, is their English knowledge, how well they speak over the phone, how well they speak to you during the interview. So there's basically three characteristics that we look for whenever we interview and bring on a VA. First of all, an above average knowledge of the English language, because you can train most virtual assistants to use your script to do the things that they need to be doing, but their English is very, very important. Number two is their energy. They have to bring the right energy to the table. They have to be an action taker and really excited to be part of this team. And then their number three is to really just have that experience. I want to say, I don't want to say that I can say you can train them, but you should have a little bit of an experience of either being a cold caller or taking outbound calls of some sort. It doesn't have to be related to real estate, but it could be related to customer service or technical assistance, of actually communicating with people over the phone rather than just sitting behind a desk and doing mundane tasks. So again, their knowledge of language, their energy, and their enthusiasm. And number three, experience. Experience is something that is important, but I put it as a third because again, you can train them and really work with them to develop those skills over time.
Yeah. Cool.
That's dope. I like that. So Anton, let's bring it back to real estate. Where are you at with real estate right now? How many doors do you have? But like, what is your plan and what is your goal going forward this year in regards to real estate?
Awesome. So I've been focusing most of my time on wholesaling. I did do a flip, which I wasn't expecting to do. And I do want to talk about this flip because it was an off-market deal that I was going to wholesale. It was not one of the ones that I wholesaled, but I was going to wholesale it. It's a property that is close to Miami, Florida. It's not in Miami, Florida, but it's about an hour north from here. And I brought it on as a wholesale deal. I was going to wholesale. So if we talk numbers, we can go into numbers if you guys like a little bit.
Yeah,
I got it under
Diego
contract.
Loves numbers.
We can definitely do that. I got it under contract for $115. I was going to go ahead and wholesale it for $120. I met with a few realtors in the area, and that's what they said. That's probably going to be the price that I could go ahead and wholesale it because of the amount of work that the property needed. It needed substantial amount of work. There was mold in the property. There was problems with electrical system. But the good thing is that the house was built in 1999, so it wasn't too old. It had a brand new roof, so that was good. But the whole inside would pretty much have to be updated. So put it on the contract for $115. Was going to wholesale it for $120. Was sitting there one day with my girlfriend actually, and she was talking about this property, and she actually told me, "Why don't we do it? Why don't we do something like this?" And I kind of threw me off guard because I wasn't even expecting or planning it. But then again, after thinking about it, I said, "Why not?" So I had to actually call the owner of the property that I said that I was going to go ahead and wholesale it cash. And sometimes this is for wholesalers out there or for people that are looking for their own deals. Don't be afraid to renegotiate not only the price, but also the conditions of the contract that you guys have the property under, because the property owners are motivated to get them sold. So I actually had to call him and say, "Listen, the cash buyer fell through. I couldn't find your cash buyer, but would you mind if I go ahead and take this property on myself? It would have to go through a conventional loan process, which will go through appraisal and inspection. Would you be okay with that?" Honestly, I was expecting him to say no, but because of the price that I locked the property under. But at the same time, he said yes. He actually just, without even asking me any questions, he said, "Yes, that's fine, not a problem." So I took the property through a conventional loan process, locked it in a $115. And in terms of the breakup, I put about $15,000 into it. And the reason is because I did most of the work myself. I want to give a shout out to Belen the Builder or on Instagram. She kind of motivated me to do a few things because I really wanted to learn it. I knew when I started to bring contractors in, I started getting bids, and those bids really threw me off because of how much they wanted for the amount of work. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to wrap my sleeves up and go at it myself. I did. I wouldn't recommend it for every property. I probably would not do it again. It was probably one of those things that took a lot of time and energy out of you. And unless you know what you're doing, like Belen does, it's really, really difficult. And yeah, one thing I would not probably do again. So I put 15 into it. That was probably the reason, because I was doing most of the work myself. And with closing costs of about $10,000, I put it on the market. It took me about 3 months from the day of the time that I told them that I was going to do conventional to the whole closing and rehab. It took me about 3 months to do. And I actually had to go for a work trip to Russia, and I knew I had to be done by then. So you have to have your why, your motivation. And I remember working crazy hours trying to get this thing done. And we got it done. We put it on the market right before I went to Russia. I came back from Russia, and I was told by my realtor that somebody did accept or send an offer in for $220,000.
Wow!
So yeah. So
that's a good one, man.
So what was that? What's the numbers on that one? Yeah. Now I'm interested.
So bought it for 115, rehab of about 15,000, closing cost of about 10. So I'm all in about $140,000 into this property. Sold it for 220. So I'm making about $80,000 profit after everything's said and done.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. That is
This
awesome.
is your first flip?
First flip.
First flip.
Has it closed?
It's closing this week, guys. That's why I'm so excited.
Oh man. Dude, congratulations.
So party in Miami, Anton?
A boat party in Miami, guys.
Boat party. Oh man. All right.
Yo, that's dope.
I'll see you not this weekend, but maybe next weekend.
So hold on, let me get this straight. You started a wholesale company because you joined Rat Race and heard a story of Diego's brother, and now your company is going to do gross 100,000 this year by this weekend because of this flip.
Yes.
That's freaking awesome.
Dude, that's so
interesting. I didn't even know about this, dude.
You got goosebumps.
You saying that gives me goosebumps, man. I'm serious.
It's interesting, though, because I think a lot of times people focus more on getting a six-figure salary versus banking on themselves to start a six-figure company like Anton did. So he spent a couple $100s to join a mastermind. I'm going to do a timeline here. He spent a couple $100 a month to get into a mastermind. And then he went on a retreat. Gonzalo, Diego brothers met them, used that knowledge, leveraged that to start a wholesaling company, as well as a virtual assistant cold caller company. In his wholesaling business, we'll do six figures. I would be surprised if we don't do six figures in the virtual assistant company. So 2 of those. Now, by betting a couple $100s a month on himself.
That's crazy.
That is the power of surrounding yourself with people that are doing what you want to do. And then from there, like the last thing I'll say about this, Diego, and then I'll pass you on the mic, is like Anton is smart because he got himself around someone doing what he wants to be doing, not someone teaching what he wants to be doing. And that's the difference, I think, between like a guru and like a leader with what we do with Rat Race. Like a guru can say, yeah, I can teach you how to do that. I have done it before. We are like, I'm also wholesaling, right? So like Anton is like, okay, we bounce ideas off of each other. So you want to surround yourself with people that are actively doing what you're doing, not someone who's, I've done it in the past.
Exactly. No, and Anton too, for you, you mentioned that you did reach out to my brother, and to take it back to one of your first deals, you mentioned the word JV, right? I bet you that you probably didn't go with the idea in mind to be like, hey, I'm going to reach out to Gonzalo and I'm going to JV a deal. You just reached out to him to basically, hey, I want to learn a little bit more about wholesaling. But can you explain what JV means when you wholesale a deal?
Sure. Awesome. Thank you. I honestly reached out to Gonzalo and I said, let's do a JV, but I was going to go ahead and give him all the assignment fees that I was going to make on the deal just for learning or getting the knowledge that he was going to provide to me. And
cool.
He, to be honest with you, refused that. He just said, I'm going to give you a couple hours of my time, and then you can ask me whatever you like, and that would be it. And I'll be able to help you as much as I can going forward. But the question about JV and wholesaling, that's a practice that is used a lot in wholesaling business, and what it stands for joint venture type of deal, where one party brings on a deal, while another party brings on a buyer for that deal. And then they go in and partner up in the middle and split the profits, whichever way you guys agree on splitting those profits from the assignment fee. So it's a very, very common practice because a lot of people are great at finding deals. A lot of people have great cash buyers that they can bring on board. So I highly recommend that to anybody starting in wholesaling or doing wholesaling actively. I think it's a very good strategy to use because you can really leverage yourself and your efforts and your time by using other people. Actually, we did a JV deal afterwards with your brother Diego, and we split the assignment fee profits where I brought the deal on board and they brought the buyer. And it was
everyone has done deals with your brother Diego except me. Jesus.
Dude, yeah. you gotta do it, Felipe.
I gotta get paid. But here's another perfect example of Anton bringing value to somebody, and in return, Anton still made money. And earlier he said he would have done it for free just for the knowledge, which this is the people that are successful in real estate. And I think just in life, like, I just want to add value to someone who is valuable to me. Oh, put that on a shirt, right? Like Anton's like, I'm going to bring value to this guy. He is valuable to me. And in return, now he's done a deal with him. And I'm sure he can do many more deals now with this guy. So it's just kind of like that taking action when you don't have, like some people are like, I don't have money. That's fine. Bring me a deal, right? And like Anton, that's what he's doing at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So Anton, what happens now, right? You were in a regular W-2 job. You joined Rat Race to Fi. You got all these connections. You're building multiple six-figure companies. You're going to start seeing those play out year after year now as you continue to scale. But what does the rest of this year, 2021, look like for Anton?
So for the rest of this year, I have a goal of closing on 5 more properties that I do want to go ahead and close and hopefully bring a couple doors that I can say that I'm renting out and having on my own, because all the deals that I've done so far have either been flips or wholesale deals. So I haven't really closed on any deals that I would say this is how many doors I have, which is something that I would like to change and would like to work on and bring doors to my name as I move forward. Honestly, guys, just learning as much as I can, growing as much as I can, connecting with as many people as I can. Right now, as of today, I have 3 deals under contract that I'm wholesaling and I'm trying to find buyers for. And this weekend, actually, I've done my first auction deal where I actually visited a live auction, which I recommend for people in your area to look into, because a lot of people, when they hear auctions or live auctions, they get a little bit nervous or scared of what they are. But it was an amazing experience where I was able to go and look at a property, make a bid on it. I actually was the highest bidder. And honestly, guys, it was a really great experience, and let's see where it's going to lead me. But definitely expanding in terms of how many doors I'm going to have by the end of this year, Felipe, focusing on my virtual assistants business that I'm doing with you guys and really growing my wholesale business as well. There's a lot of things that are happening, but
yeah. Can you share a little bit about the auction part? Because
I was going to ask the same thing.
Yeah, I'm really interested on that.
I don't have much knowledge on that at all. So go ahead, Anton.
Great. So there was a live auction that I saw in the city that I did my flip in, which I said it's about an hour away. And the way I found it was through Zillow. You will find some auction houses on Zillow. Usually how these work is there's a specific date and time that these auctions are held at a property, and this specific one gave you access to the property 30 minutes before the actual process starts. When you get there, you fill out a form. They give you your auction number card that you can hold up and make a bid with. But you get
like in the movies where they do the thing where they pick up the stick.
Pretty much, you're just standing outside this house with 20 other people, and you have these other investors that are there. Nobody really talks. I tried talking to some people, but I could tell that most people were very, very reserved. Exactly. It was a little bit different process than what you usually expect when you go look at a property. But people come with checks and cashier checks, I actually learned that you don't really have to do that, because even if you're the highest bidder and you are the winner, which I was, and I got to experience it from the very beginning to the end, you can actually bring that check as long as it's in within the next hour or so to their office. There's an office usually of the company that holds an auction that day, and you can bring that check to them. The check was supposed to be for 10% of the purchase price, and that 10% is actually called a buyer's premium. For those of you that don't know, that 10% actually goes to the auction company. So, for example, if you bid on a property $50,000, your final price will be 55, 10% of 55. Now, 5,000 would go to the auction company, and the 50,000 would go actually to the owner of the property. So if you are at these auctions, make sure you understand that. Make sure that whatever you bid, you're going to pay 10% over that as a buyer's premium. And that's one of the things that I didn't know. You have 30 days to close. So this is not like court. How do they call it, Felipe? Help me out.
At the court steps.
Court steps. Thank you. This is not exactly. This is not a court steps auction where somebody went through a foreclosure. This is just somebody who wants to auction up their properties or their portfolio
to like the highest bidder or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, where did you hear about this? Sorry, I don't know if I missed that part.
It said Zillow, right?
On Zillow. I just found a property on Zillow. It's at auction, and then I read the description. This time
you learn
of day,
something every day.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
So what are the numbers on that property? What is your exit strategy?
There's a few exit strategies. So I could flip it. It's a rent-ready property, so I could either just go ahead and rent it out to somebody at about $600 probably a month. So I'm still doing that 1% over my purchase price. I could either flip it. I could put maybe a couple $1,000s into it, do a nice paint job, replace the really cheap carpet with some nice flooring, and flip it. Or I could wholesale it. Your auction contracts are actually assignable. And what that means is you can actually assign that contract as a wholesaler to another investor. So I could actually.
So you don't actually have to buy it? That contract's assignable?
My contract is fully assignable, Felipe, yes.
Get the what?
I was shocked.
Learning.
Yeah, and it's 10%. You don't even have to buy. Yeah, that's really cool. How much is the property?
$50,000. So I put it on the contract for $50,000. The ARV in that area, I did run some numbers before going out there. I could probably sell it for $70,000. So even if I just do a quick flip, I would probably have to again like change the floors, maybe put in $5,000. Let's just to round up the numbers, $5,000 into it, and make my 15 grand on it, or I could rent it out and just start collecting checks or wholesale it. So there's different options. I'm still looking into what I'm going to be doing because it just happened this Saturday.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's cool. Have you considered using the money that you're making from your flip to get this property? Like, does the cash flow make sense for you?
I have, yeah. And that's probably one of the things that I would be doing if I don't wholesale it. I would think so, yeah. Because of these auctions, you would have to bring the full purchase price within 30 days.
Do they ask for the proof of funds?
Nope.
Man, this is crazy. I'm learning too.
I've never heard of this at all. See, Diego, if you weren't a realtor, maybe you would have the time to go do these things for yourself.
Shut up,
just
Felipe.
kidding. Anton, this is great, dude. I didn't know this. Diego, we should have Anton come speak at Rat Race on a Wednesday on just auctions, because people would probably like that option. That'd be interesting to definitely hear about that. Anton, wow, thanks. That's rockstar. I can't wait to follow up and hear what happens with this deal. That's exciting.
Yeah, man. That's cool. So you have that one. So you did a deal in Jacksonville, and I want to hear that story because it's something that you learned. And can you share about that deal? The one where the title company had some issues with the money that they were going to send to you and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that was definitely an interesting one. So that was one of my first wholesale deals where I brought the deal, and that was one of the JV deals that I was going to do with your brother. At the end, we didn't end up JVing on that specific deal because I was able to find a buyer before they were able to. So I actually signed a JV contract with them, which whenever you do a JV deal, going back to JV, I highly recommend that you do put something in writing between the people that you're working with, as long as you have a reputable buyer and as long as you have a reputable contract with a property. Put something in writing saying this is going to be the split between these two people that are doing this deal. So we actually did that, and both of us signed. And while they were looking for a buyer, I was able to find somebody else. And I was going to go ahead and honor it and say, listen, whatever you need me to do in terms of my assignment fee or my portion of the assignment fee that I'm going to go ahead and make on this, I'm more than happy just to go ahead and split with you. And Gonzalo was nice enough to say, no, don't worry about it. Go ahead and do this deal. We can just go ahead and back out of this JV contract and we'll be fine. So that's what happened. And the buyer chose the title company that they were going to use, which usually happens. A cash buyer usually chooses a title company that they're going to use for a wholesale deal. So that was all fine. And then in the paperwork, when I was sending the paperwork to the title company, I got really, really excited. And again, whenever you do these first wholesale deals, it is a very, very exciting process because it all happens really fast. Once you get a property under contract and a buyer, everything just kind of happens really, really quick in the next 2 weeks, I would say. And in that contract, assignment of contract that I sent to the buyer to sign, I put my assignment fee as part of the breakdown that they were going to go ahead and pay me. The title company, I don't know how, I'm not even going to try to understand how, but the title company took that assignment fee as part of the closing costs that I was supposed to pay on my side. So somehow they put my assignment fee as part of the closing costs that the buyer was supposed to bring. I guess because you have the seller closing costs and buyer closing costs, and they took this assignment fee as part of my closing costs. I honestly think they didn't have too much experience dealing with wholesalers. That's one thing I would recommend for any wholesaler out there. Whenever you are doing a wholesale deal, before you send any paperwork into the title company, call them up and make sure they understand how the process works. That this is an assignment of contract, that there's an assignment fee that you're going to have to make at the end of this contract, and everybody's on the same page. I didn't do that. I just put everything in writing, sent it to them. They came back as before closing, they sent me the closing statement. I honestly, guys, I'm going to take the responsibility on myself and overlooked it, that they put that $2,500, my assignment fee, into the closing fee of the contract. And I just said, okay. Again, excitement fills your veins. You got your first couple of deals and you overlooked it. Long story short, after the deal closes, I don't get any money out of the deal because that's how everything was on the breakdown. So I got nervous. At the same time, I said, you know what, that is my responsibility. I will take it. But at the same time, I'm not just going to let it go. I started calling the title company, talking to them, explaining. The thing that really, really helped me is my assignment of contract really made sense. They never really questioned it. They should have. They didn't. They just assumed that it was part of the closing costs. I don't know how. Don't even ask me. So that document really saved me, and they actually sent me a check for my assignment fee that they put part of the closing costs. Yeah.
There you go. So this is a perfect example of Anton's why, right? Like, it's okay to take responsibility for your mistakes and like, no, you're not going to get that money. Okay, but that's fine. I get your answer, but I want to know why. And because of Anton's why, he dug into it a little more and he was able now to get his assignment fee. He took responsibility for his mistake, followed up, and still got his assignment fee. I think that's an awesome story of perseverance.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Really,
Anton,
really cool.
good job on that one, because I remember you called me and you were like, hey, I'm dealing with this. What can I do? And so very happy that you were able to save it. For
sure. Absolutely. Anton, man, thank you for your time. As we wrap this up, brother, is there anything that you would want to tell the listeners that are going to listen to this podcast about your story so far? I know you have so much more to go and you have so many more goals that you want to crush. You're doing a great job so far. Sheesh. I wish I would have been at this position when I first started mine, right? It took me a while to get the ball rolling. Is there anything that you would want to tell those who are just getting started into real estate investing?
Yeah, the biggest thing, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, is a lot of us are in this stage of analysis paralysis, and we get into the stage so deep sometimes that it's hard to get out of it because we just want to listen to all the books, listen to all the podcasts, being afraid of taking action just because you hear so many stories of people losing on real estate deals out there. If you are in that position, guys, the best way to get out of it, or the best way to get yourself out of that hole, is get around other people that are doing what you want to be doing. Like Felipe said, don't get around a guru that's going to start telling you about different strategies out there, or read more books. Just get around other people that are doing what you want to be doing, and it's really going to change your whole perception about everything. You will see yourself taking so much more action without even needing that motivation that you needed before. And finally, just take action, no matter what it is. I was so afraid of that first deal that I did, the flip, guys. When I heard about the mold and people started telling me about those scary stories about mold problems, how you can go into $20,000-$40,000 repairs when it comes to mold, I got really, really scared. And it got to a point where I said, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. And now I know I'm on the other side, and I can talk about this great profit that I'm making over the split. But I didn't know that when I put it on the contract, and I was really, really scared. I mean, whenever you do your first flip or anything, so take action no matter what happens, guys. It's going to be really, it's going to be okay in the end. So.
Yeah.
If I ever run into mold problems, just cut it out. I'm putting you.
This guy.
Yeah, right.
Man, that's why he's not going to be a realtor.
That's why I can't be a realtor. That's why I'm a wholesaler.
No, yeah, stick to wholesale. Anton, what I was going to say, it's really good because at the end of the day, everybody has that fear, right, of taking action. But if you have more courage than the fear, then you know that you're going to be able to execute. But a lot of people have less courage and more fear. So I'm very happy that you were able to get over that and take action.
Absolutely. Anton, like I said, brother, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for spending some of your workday today here with the Rat Race to 5 podcast. We really appreciate you, man. On to the next one. Thanks, Anton.
Thank you, Anton.
The Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place.